Hello everybody and welcome to this video. In this video we're joined by Mr. Richard Holden.
Hello.
And we're going to be doing some pork short ribs on a Weber Master-Touch BBQ. Richard, show us how to prepare these ribs.
Pork ribs, really simple to prepare. There's just one step that you have to do yourself. Sometimes it will come like this already from the butchers, and if we get a close-up on this, you can see that I've got two sheets here. This one's already had the membrane removed, and this one, we just need to do it so that if we don't, it'll just go rubbery and tough, and it won't be a nice eat. So take something like a butter knife or the tip of a teaspoon, and all you're going to do is go in down one of the central bones on the underside and just tease that membrane away. And then once you've got about halfway through and you can get your index finger in there, what you can do is just lift that up all the way to the other side of the rack of ribs, and then holding the rack with one hand, just pull that membrane all the way, and it will go from one end to the other. Some of the recipes will say to start at one end and tear along. If you do that, sometimes you can take the top half off and then you have to get some kitchen paper because it's quite slippery. So turn those over, and then if I can get you to apply the seasonings for me, we're going to start off with a little bit of French's American mustard. This is just to act like a bit of a glue. If you don't want to add this, you don't have to do. It's just one of those little steps that they're quite fond of in North America. So a little bit of a application there. While you get the rub, I'll just smooth that over the
So for these ribs, we're using an Angus Oink rub, Moo-mami, which is one of their nice rubs.
Now this one says that it's specifically for beef steak
and cow,
but some of the ingredients in there we think work really well with the pork. So now that we've got the mustard rubbed across, just a nice liberal sprinkle. Now the rubs that you have in store, they all have very similar ingredients, and that's because the American rubs are based on similar ingredients. So you have salt and sugar, which are your two key ingredients. Then you have things like paprika, onion salt, garlic salt, celery salt. It might sound like a lot of salt, but they're kind of ratioed so that it's a good quantity in the finished taste. And then things like paprika, English mustard powder, things like that. The difference between them, though, is the proportions that they put in. So some may accentuate some certain flavours, and other rubs will do the same for the other flavours as well. So these are ready to go. They have been out of the fridge for about 20 minutes, so they're up to room temperature, and we'll put them on the barbecue.
So Richard, let's take these over to our 57cm Master-Touch. I'm going to grab some of these hickory wood chunks to put on.
Yep, if you can do the lid, because I've still got sauce and rub on my hands. So we're set up around about 120, 130, which is a good low and slow temperature. These are going to go on the area of indirect. We've got fuel in the left-hand side, as you can see, and nothing in the...
Can I just reach in and grab these
fuel in the left and nothing in the right. So if you lift up that hinge cooking grate,
plump them through.
And the wood chunks don't need soaking, do they?
Wood chunks don't, wood chips do.
And the reason why we're using these is just because they last a lot longer than if we were to go in and add wood chips. You could use wood chips, but you'd be coming back every 15, 20 minutes and adding more. That's going to smoke pretty much straight away, and we'll give those a good 2.5, 3 hours.
Okay.
If we need to top up with the coals on this one, we'll manage the fire so that we stay within that 120, 130 degrees C range. And if we need to add a bit more wood smoke, we can.
One of the top tips I've always told is you don't put this on, disappear off to the golf course and come back expecting it to be perfect. It's to stay nearby, monitor your fuel every so often, just keep topping it up as and when you need it.
Yeah.
All right, so 3 hours?
2.5, 3 hours, we'll come back and we'll wrap those for the second stage.
Okay, see you then. So we're back with our ribs on the Master-Touch.
Holding a good 130, we've just been managing the fire on this. 4 or 5 coals every hour and a half or so. Just add them before that heat gets too low. As you can see, our ribs are still holding together. That's fine. So this is the wrapping phase. This is the wrapping and saucing phase. So this one we're going to use a little bit of Angus Oink. Rampant Angus has a little bit of Scotch bonnet in it, but not too hot, just a nice little bit of heat. If you want to pop some sauce on this one. So this is the wrapping stage. We've had the rub on, we've got a nice crust on there. If you were temperature checking your ribs, you'd be low to mid 70s. The meat is starting to pull back from the edge of the bone. So those kind of stylized ribs, that's what we're going for here, where we've got the meat pulling back from the bone. Nice bit of sauce on the top. And you'll notice on the table in that we've got a couple of, we've got a sheet of greaseproof or baking parchment. and underneath that we've got some foil. In the American cookbooks, it will just say to foil at this point, and they can do that because their foil is quite strong, and
you can repair your car with it. It's that strong stuff.
So, what that means for cooking is that if you a little bit of OCD just kicking in there. Sorry. If you use the American foil and you pull it around these ribs, it won't tear. But if you pull English foil around the ribs around the side of our ribs, you'll put a puncture in it. So what I like to do, a little bit of baking parchment, just cinch this over, fold it over in a way that you can get into it later on, because we are going to need to check these part way through the cook. So just fold those ends in, and the parchment holds nice and strong. Then we bring our foil up and over. So we haven't boiled these in Coca-Cola.
Nope.
We haven't done any other thing inside. Everything's been done from raw on the barbecue. Foil those over. And just very carefully pull those ends in, and that will hold the parchment in place. So the moisture from the sauce will heat up with the heat of the ribs. That will create a steam environment within that wrapping, within the parcel. That will push back into the ribs and help to tenderize them.
Yep.
The remaining components of the sauce will become sticky. So we'll get a nice sticky finish on the top of our ribs, and we'll come back in a few moments and show people how to make sure that their ribs are cooked. And we want them melt in the mouth, not fall off the bone. We want them to hold onto the bone until we get from the plate to our mouth. So
okay, so we'll come back and check on them in a little while.
We'll come back and check soon. Let's check the ribs.
On the MasterTouch, let's have a look.
So what we did with these is we had them for about an hour and a half after the wrap. We checked them, and they were just on the money. So what we did was, these need to rest, just like any other meat, they do need to rest. So we actually shut the top and the bottom vent, left the ribs in the barbecue to cool down.
To cool down, yeah.
And just keep that nice little bit of residual heat. So if we just open these out, and then again, this here.
Oh, they smell good.
That. Just be very careful peeling that back, because you don't want to take all that crust off with you. And then easy way to know that your ribs are cooked, and this is what we did a little bit earlier on. Take a clean set of utensils, run those in about halfway along a rack of ribs, hold them firm, and then if you bend it down, can you see how that's just come away nice and cleanly? That should fall away. That actually held together. So I know that if we bite into one of these, we'll get a nice bite, nice clean bite through, but the meat will stay on the bone. One little myth that I would like to bust is that ribs should not fall off the bone. They should be melt in the mouth. Because if you pick a bone up and it falls off the bone, then the meat is going to be on your plate, and we want that meat to stay on the bone until it gets to your mouth. So if we do the same with the other one, you can see there that that's just pulling away beautifully. If that was, if we pulled it away, you see where this is pulled away from that bone nice and cleanly there.
Yeah.
If that was pulling away, sorry, if it wasn't pulling away and it was kind of bending and springing back, just leave it on for a little bit longer. Give them an extra 15, 20 minutes, check again. But all the time you do, anytime you check it, just try and be as quick as you can, because any time that you have the lid open, you're just extending the cook time on the food that you're actually cooking. So if we just tear one of those in half again, or tear a rib off there, I'll leave you that. I know you need to say a few words, but I can have a taste, can't I?
Yeah, you can.
I can have a taste, so. Don't let me stop you.
Right, okay.
Don't let me stop you.
So if you like this, the more information about this recipe, visit our website, hayesgardenworld.co.uk. We're across all the social media platforms, and there's more videos like this on our YouTube channel. Good?
Yeah.
Right. I'll see you again next time.
See you next time.
Bye.